All right, welcome to another episode of The American Dream, a bipartisan show, the only one of its kind that goes against the grain of that negative stuff you see in the media. We got a great show lined up for you today. What you're going to see is a compilation of national interviews with my co-hosts and myself, but also we integrate in local market advice from the best professionals in your own backyard. You're going to love today's show. We're talking a lot about real estate today, and we encourage you not just to watch the show, but engage with us on social media. That being said, let's start the show right now. Every single day, you are consumed with information. With the 24/7 negative news cycle and a pop culture that's polluting the airwaves, all selling out for the ratings game. Well, guess what? There's a more positive way to look at life. You live in the greatest city in the greatest country on the planet. Every day with our elite network of professionals, our goal is to educate, empower, and engage. And now it's time to fight for your American dream. Now for the word on the American Dream, of course, always coming at you unscripted here and authentic. On this show, you probably checked it out. You see we talk a lot about the national real estate market. However, we also integrate in the best professionals of the local marketplace to give you information about your own backyard. Now, these are people that I have flown across the country to meet personally. So when we endorse them and bring them on our show, I want you to know how truly talented they are. So about this real estate topic, we're going to talk about things like equity and tax advantages and interest rate. That's what you think about when you hear real estate. However, we got to remember something else. It's not just real estate, it's a home. My parents still live in the house I was raised in. It's a place that you're going to raise your family, build memories, build community. So it has such an important ripple effect, not only on the economy, but society. And so today we're going to really focus on the real estate market and home ownership. Hope you enjoy today's show. Let's start the interviews now. All right, joining us on The American Dream also, I understand we're doing a Facebook Live as well. This guy has a ton of passion, author, speaker, CEO of Cardone Capital, the Grant Cardone, to talk about The American Dream. Grant, good to have you on the show.
Dude, I am an expert on The American Dream.
Yeah, well, some people say it's dead.
Well, I think it is dead for a lot of people because a lot of people quit dreaming. I mean, to dream, you got to dream. So that means you got to work. And unfortunately, a lot of people think somebody else is going to make this thing happen when it's not going to happen. And this has been true for 200 years here. The dream here was made to happen by people that left a nightmare, came across the pond and said, I'm going to make a dream now because I'm free.
You know, you make a good point. There's a lot of political arguments about immigration and the wall. But the one thing that we should all be able to agree to is that millions of people want into this country, not out of it. So I think that's a statement in itself. Not to mention we have a military that's willing to die for your freedoms. You get paid on retirement, veterans, disability, unemployed. So this country takes very good care of you in every shape or form. And the opportunity, I believe, is there. But you got to dream big. And it's okay to be biased about dreaming about the country that you live in, just like it's okay to be biased that you have the greatest mom. So what's the American dream mean to you?
Well, for me, it means I have the freedom to do what I want, think as big as I want, and go as big as I want. Nobody's going to arrest me for doing that. Like, I think the only people that take America for granted are the people that actually live here.
True.
Everybody that comes here, you come here from Argentina, Venezuela. I'm in Miami today, so I got a lot of people that came here from South America, a lot of people that came here from Russia that work with us. They're like, hey, man, this is a dream, bro. Protect it, secure it. They don't have a problem with walls because they're inside now and they're like, hey, wall, no wall. I want to be here. I love being here. Now I need to focus on the opportunity, not the politics. And the politics are always there to distract people. But the reality is, what are you going to do with the opportunity you have here, whether it's 20 years, 30 years, 50 years? And there's a lot of people wasting time here, not taking advantage of those moments to really turn this into an unbelievable life for themselves.
You got a big event coming up. Tell us about it.
9,000 people showing up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and all of them are there to 10X their dreams. It's called the 10X Growth Conference. They're there to 10X their businesses, 10X their lives. The business and entrepreneur owners that we speak there are people that are looking for freedom. They're building businesses because they want freedom in their life, regardless of the country they live in.
Who are some of the speakers that you have?
Oh my gosh, we had 20. Well, first of all, I'm gonna be speaking every day, so that by itself makes it worth the investment. My wife's gonna be speaking there. A guy named Ed Milet. He's got a network of 50,000 people. WFG, one of the larger companies in the world. We have a group coming in that the guy did $4 billion in advertising sales last year. Man, the name's just like crazy. Ty Lopez is gonna be there. Built, 10 million, 12 million people online. So we got retail business owners there, online business owners there, and everybody there is going to be talking about 10x your business. 9,000
people there to pursue their American dream. Awesome, man. Well, good for you. You're doing a lot in the real estate space now. So I think a lot of times when people hear the American dream, they make that reference of owning a piece of land. What are you doing with real estate? What are you doing with real estate investing?
Well, Louis Glickman said that the best investment in Earth is Earth itself. And what we're doing is we basically, somebody just threw my plane in.
Yeah, I picked up on the airplane that just flew in onto your desk, man.
Dude, the plane's for sale, by the way. I'm selling the plane. I mean, this goes to show you how real the American dream is, okay? Real estate, I own 5,000 apartments today. Real estate, I started buying real estate in San Diego 25 years ago. Real estate is the ultimate vehicle for people to create financial freedom for themselves. And so while everybody's all excited about Bitcoin right now, the truth is a majority of wealth in this country is invested at some point in income producing real estate. Whether your business produces income or your real estate produces income, if you can somehow, without going back to college, accumulate enough real estate that pays you income, you're going to have financial freedom. So that's what we do at Cardone Capital. We buy very large deals. These are $50 to $100 million apartment complexes and our office that produces income day one. And our investors and myself get to participate in passive income while we wait for the appreciation over long periods of time.
All right, make sure you connect with Grant, learn about his upcoming conference he has going on, the books he's selling. The guy has so much going on. You can find him online. Truly an inspiration of the American dream. Always good to have him on the show. More coming up next. All right, welcome back to the American Dream. Imagine building a company that was bought by Google. Our next guest, Brett Crosby, the co-founder and COO of PeerStreet, did exactly that. Now he's going to come on the show and talk about the secondary market of real estate. Brett, thanks for coming on the show.
Great to be here, Craig. Thanks for having me.
So real quick, for those who don't know, share your background.
Yeah, so I'm co-founder and COO of PeerStreet right now. Before this, I was at Google for about 10 years. And the way I got to Google is I started a company down there in San Diego called Urchin Software Corporation. It was very early in the web analytics space. We built that up. Google acquired us in 2005. And we moved to Google Corporate and launched Google Analytics. So that Urchin was the predecessor to Google Analytics, and then stayed on at Google for 10 years doing a number of things.
How'd you like Google?
This business now. Oh, Google's fantastic. It was such a great place to work. And in fact, I've taken a lot of the cultural tips that I learned there and a lot of the lessons and applied them to this business, PeerStreet.
So tell us a little bit about PeerStreet. Now, what you guys do is you're basically a platform investing in real estate-backed loans, correct?
That's correct.
So explain what that means to those who don't know.
Sure. So a lot of people know they can invest in real estate, but they don't know that they can actually invest in the debt side or the mortgage side of real estate. And the reason for that is that it wasn't readily available to most people until now. Basically, what my co-founder and I saw is an asset class that we thought was this great asset class. First position liens on real estate that most people just had no access to. And we thought if we built a platform that was a secondary market for lenders and an investment platform for investors, we could connect the two and create something really special. And that's what we've done.
How safe of an investment is this? I think a lot of people, when they think about real estate investing and the secondary market and the product of loans, you can't help but think about 2008 and subprime. What confidence do you have in that market? Is it a safe investment? What are the risks?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any investment is going to have some sort of risk, right? But 2008 is always on our minds. One of our investors is Michael Burry. He was played by Christian Bale in The Big Short. And so we are always thinking about the downside risk. We've done over $700 million in investments through the platform now over the past few years. Every single loan that comes on the platform, we stress test. And because of all that stress test and underwriting and going through all of it to make sure that it's something we want to bring on the platform, we've had zero losses. Nobody's lost a single dollar investing on the platform.
Well, certainly a very different world now than it was in 2008. Interesting that you referenced The Big Short. There's a great movie that illustrates. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that. Of course, on a show called The American Dream, we got to ask you, how does this empower communities? How does this empower the American dream?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the American dream. I'm living the American dream. And by the way, I love what you're doing here with the show, the whole thing. And so, look, everyone out there, first of all, if you have a little bit of money to invest, it's harder and harder to get yield on that investment. So to make money passively. Real estate debt is a great place to do that. These are all first position liens on real estate, and it's backed by the underlying real estate. So if the borrower stops paying, we can foreclose on it. And we've had to do that in a few cases, but investors still made all of their principal back.
Well, it's a lot safer in an appreciating housing market versus subprime when everything was crashing. Those foreclosures turned into a lot of losses, I would imagine. Real quick, since I got you here, what do you think of the future of housing? How do you think it turns out in 2018?
In 2018, I think the future of housing is going to continue to grow. I think it's look, the age of the U.S. housing stock is as old as it's ever been. The average house is over 40 years old in the United States. When people go in and fix those houses, which is what our borrowers typically do, they buy houses that are kind of the crummy ones on your block. They'll fix them up and then sell them to new owners. That's a very important part of the cycle, and it really helps build the American dream for everyone. So we're big believers in the future of it, as long as you do things safely, and that's what we're here trying to do.
Bullish on housing. Brett, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Greg.
All right, more of The American Dream coming up next.
Hi, I'm Jenn Morris, co-host of The American Dream. Don't forget, you can always watch more of our content online and follow us along on social media.
Well, the game of real estate's changing. It's not about just throwing signs in the front yard and saying we got an open house. With digital marketing and even new strategies that come from across the world, specifically Australia, making a major impact on the U.S. housing market. Joining us on the show, Rob Forde, real estate analyst with Harcourts. Good to have you on the show, man.
Thanks. Pleasure to be here.
So, I think people can pick up from your accent when I said Australia. That's why we brought in the Aussie.
Yeah, exactly.
Good to have you on the show.
Yeah.
So in Australia, real estate's a whole different beast than it is here. Now, you're here, you have your fingerprints all over the country with the things you're doing, but from Australia, what's the difference between how it works there and here? And then we'll evolve to how things are changing in the U.S. as a result of that. But what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, brilliant. I think one of the big differences, the major differences, is that there's only one side on a commission on a deal. So I go in to list your home. I'm the listing agent. I represent you, and I also represent all of the buyers that come through the home.
Do you have to find the buyers?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
But the way that buyers find property now, I don't think is a case of the agents finding the buyers as much as the buyers finding the property. And I think the advent of the internet and the way that we search now has sort of changed a lot of that. So that's one of the biggest differences. An agent, if you cannot get a listing as an agent in Australia, you don't have any business.
So what is the average commission on that listing?
2%.
So 2%.
Versus traditionally 6%.
You just made an industry shake with that one. But talk to me about how the home actually goes and sells. Because as a seller, you want it to move quick and you want top dollar.
Yeah.
How's it work?
So we have traditional real estate as you do here, but we also have our non-distressed auction platform where we would sell 50%, 60% of all property goes to auction. So we don't advertise at a price. And there's actually been a couple of, the $1 million listing guys that have been to Australia recently and mentioned on the way that we do things and how it works really well. Because in a traditional sense, what we find is by putting a price on a home, you go in to list somebody's home, and the pressure that you always get as an agent is you're wanting to get the most for the seller, and the seller wants you to promise the maximum amount that you can get for the home.
Sure.
So it creates a couple of issues. One, you've got a lot of people overpricing the home and over-promising for value that isn't there in the market. So then you've got this process of coming to try and get all of these price reductions in order to meet the market. So what we do, we have a bidding to start from price. So it's a lower starting point so that we can get more buyers attracted into the market, have them, look through it and come up and determine with what the actual price of the market is, and in a shorter period of time, because we're getting loads of people through the front door within, 30 days. We've got a date set in which action's going to happen so that we can force activity in the market rather than just putting a unrealistic expectation on the market and then just sitting and waiting and hoping.
Rob Forde, man, we bring you on the show because you bring this new knowledge. There's just going to continue to be this ripple effect of change that's happening in the U.S. It's good to have you on the show and kind of give that global perspective. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely, thank you.
I want to do something I've never done before, but I just think it's so interesting what's going on in the real estate market, certainly when it comes to auctions. If you are looking at selling your home and you want to learn more about this, my team will put my email address at the bottom here, craig@craigsewing.com. Shoot me an email, and I'd love to try and do this story on the show and honestly create a little documentary around it and just see kind of how it all plays out and share it with our audience. So if you're interested in selling your home, learning more, shoot me an email and I will help connect the dots. I think that'd be a cool thing to do.
That would be awesome.
All right, more of The American Dream coming up next. Well, as you know, The American Dream is a national program where we focus on business, the entrepreneurial spirit, overcoming adversity, finance, the market, all things that are relevant to empowering your American dream. But a big topic of conversation on this show is housing. So what we do is we integrate local, top-producing, award-winning realtors to cover a wide range of topics on that subject, different micro markets, different niche subject matter. Housing is such a big topic, so we're going to bring you a lot of information right now from some of the best in your market. Let's check out these interviews.
Welcome back to the American Dream TV. We are going to Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, and we get to meet the amazing Denton Aguam with the Dare Network-Keller Williams Realty. Denton, thank you for being on American Dream today.
Absolutely, thank you.
So tell me, what is the current real estate market in Fort Worth and Dallas doing there right now?
Yeah, it is a great market right now, but we are seeing a little bit of shift to a buyer's market. And basically what that means in short is there are actually more homes coming on in the market. I took a look at some stats before we got here, and there's 10% more homes on the market, which means we're carrying around 10,000 homes for sale for people to buy.
So what is the feedback, and what are you seeing with the clients in your area and how they feel about the real estate market? Are they moving forward with it as well, or are you having to do some training with them?
We always have to come from a place of education. Kind of what's happening if you're a seller, you're still kind of stuck in that lag market or where it was last year. So you still want to price it high and you want to get multiple offers. Where the buyers, they go on the market and they're seeing multiple homes now, not just your home for sale. So it's a little bit of a tug and war, and that's why we kind of see a little bit of the lull in the market.
Well, you're an expert there in that area. How many years have you been doing this?
So this will be my 15th year.
So not your first day.
5 years. No, not my first day, no.
So with that, as you're taking a look and trying to, I want to say forecast, but looking into 2018, and I know everybody's got their opinions, but I'd really love to know, what is your opinion on the market in your area for 2018? How do you see this going?
So I don't have a crystal ball, but what I've taken a look at, for the last 3 years, it's been pretty kind of stable. Now shifting towards that buyer's market. I think we're going to continue to tip towards that buyer's market. We kind of measure it by months of inventory, meaning if there's no new homes that come on the market, how long would it take to sell every single home? We're right about 2.5, and I think we're going to move towards 3 here this year. So slowly and gradually, but nothing too fast.
Well, I think that's great. I mean, you can't ask for better than that right now in your market. Absolutely. And what the opportunities are for your sellers and your buyers, that you guys can really make some great adjustments right now and take advantage of the market.
That's right.
I know, speaking of the market, I know you have a featured listing right now that is on Victoria Park Lane. So tell us a little bit about that specialty.
So we have a great listing. It's in the W residence. It's unit 1039, has a beautiful view of downtown Dallas. And of course, the W residence has a lot of great amenities for lifestyle, a rooftop deck pool, 24-hour concierge service, in-room dining, 24 hours as well, laundry service, all the stops. You get everything, all the bells and whistles.
That is really cool. That's awesome. What would be your one advice for a buyer right now? If you could give them just one quick nugget, what would you tell a buyer right now?
I would tell them to sit down with a real estate professional, know where they are, both financially, where they want to live, and just put out a plan. Don't necessarily go up by the seat of your pants and just go look at a house and say, oh, I think I like this one. Really put a solid plan together to buy that first home or even second home for yourself.
That's great. Denton, we really appreciate your expertise in the market there in the Dallas area, and we look forward to having you a part of the American Dream TV. Thanks for being on today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We'll be back with more of the American Dream TV.
The American Dream and I have been invited by San Diego's premier luxury realtor, a friend of our show, the Seth O'Byrne. And we're giving LA's leader in luxury real estate, Ben Bacal, a helicopter tour of what San Diego has to offer in the luxury real estate market from the sky. Buckle up. I've been traveling the entire country, launching the American Dream all across the United States, and in each market we isolate the elite realtors in every market. Today we did something fun. We brought Ben Bacal, who is the #1 agent for luxury up in LA.
So glad to be here.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. He has a $250 million listing right now, amongst many other, a great portfolio. And we got Seth O'Byrne, who you see on the show all the time, who is our expert out of San Diego. Course on his phone, but we're just touring America's finest city, maybe having a little in-air debate about LA and San Diego from two of the best nationwide. When you approach a luxury home and you're taking it to market, what are some of the strategies that help move that house?
I spend anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 a month on those luxury listings because everyone's on their phone.
Yep.
I want those listings viral on your phone. So that's what I implement. And of course, for the super high-end properties, we'll have a PR company come in and strategize and build stories around the property and try to get free editorials as much as we can.
Is there, obviously there's a lot of thought that goes into it, but it's not for sure what that property is going to sell for when you list it for 20, 30, 40 million, right? I mean, there's some guesswork there.
No, when you're in that $20 to $30 million mark, you know that they're going to sell for pretty close to that. It's when you're pushing in that 40 to 250 stratosphere.
Yeah.
Then it's a bit different game. But the price per square foot has been. We're really price per square foot driven in Los Angeles. We're lucky because we have the comps to back it up. So you can say like a house down the street sold for $3,000 a foot or $2,500 a foot. Museum quality stuff is selling for about $2,500 a foot.
Share with me a story, an example of something you've moved recently.
Recently, we did a house for $48 million, and it's a New York buyer that came out and bought it. And then we have a lot of buyers from the UK that are venture capital, private equity. A lot of Chinese are buying, and then mostly it's domestic because the United Emirates dollar is pegged to the US dollar, and this the British thing. Everything's in flux. So right now it's really domestic. But I do advertise in like Camju and luxuryrealestate.com and Prestige MLS, and I put it in Mandarin. The listings I'll translate them, and also on YouTube I'll translate them. But essentially they're coming out here and they're hiring me, looking for their home of their dreams, and like the big listings, spending like $10,000 a month, pushing them so they're where their screens your house is going to be, right?
Yeah. So really, even though in some ways, obviously, luxury real estate has been known for being cutthroat, kind of to the opposite, you have to be collaborative with the other partners out there, right?
Yeah, you really have to. Exactly. You got to be collaborative with your fellow associates, and you got to maintain that relationship. Getting exclusive listings, they're great, but often they trade hands really quickly. You get a 6-month listing, and it doesn't trade, and then you pass it off to the next guy, and then boom, it could sell, which is okay. It's just the name of the game, right?
Jen, you got any final remarks about San Diego?
Well, from the air, I really got a really terrific perspective. Thank you, Seth, for showing me all the different areas. They're beautiful. Those hillside, those cliffside properties were extraordinary. I couldn't believe what I saw. And the value that you get for beachfront property, exceptional. I'm looking to maybe buy something one day. That'd be cool. Hope you enjoyed, and cheers to your American dream.
You just heard from award-winning realtors about your marketplace. It's one thing to find your dream home. It's another thing to finance it. I've traveled the country to find the best mortgage experts in every city. You're going to hear from yours in a Mortgage Minute right now. Let's check it out.
Hi, this is Andy Tuttle with the Tuttle Group at Fairway Mortgage and one of the expert contributors here on the American Dream TV. Here's your Mortgage Minute for the day. So there's a lot of noise out there right now about interest rates being on the rise, and people are concerned that, should I still buy a house because the interest rates are so high? Well, remember, they're still historically low, and when you can borrow money on a debt this large, under 5%, you're in great shape. It's still cheap money, and so don't be discouraged with that, but also be more concerned and focused on choosing a professional that can really help you when it comes to your financing. Here are 4 simple questions you can ask to make sure you're dealing with a professional so you can have a memorable and enjoyable experience and get great competitive terms. So number 1, just ask if they know who the Fed president is. If they don't know that it's Jerome Powell, well, that should be a red flag. You need to know who's in charge of monetary policy and what that means to you when you're getting your mortgage financing so you can have a proper loan and lock strategy. Number 2, see if they have live access to the mortgage bonds and mortgage quotes. Because if they don't, and they're not watching the market daily or have someone on their team doing it, then they're not going to know when a good time to lock or a good time to float is. And right now, in the last 3 weeks, with interest rates spiking 0.3% or more in some cases, if you're not watching the right indicators, then you are in big trouble, and that could cost you thousands or tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Number 3, do they even know what interest rates are based on? Again, if they don't know that it's mortgage bonds or mortgage-backed securities and they're watching the wrong indicator, that could cost you a lot of money. And number 4, do they know what it means when the Fed changes the Fed funds rate? So if they think when the Fed ups the interest rate 0.25% that immediately ups mortgage interest rates 0.25%, that's incorrect. In fact, many times when the Fed makes a move in one direction, interest rates go in the opposite direction. You need to deal with a professional so you can ask these right questions and get real answers that can help make sure you choose someone that's going to help you use your mortgage, which is a financial instrument that can help you create wealth correctly and then give you a memorable and enjoyable experience in one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your life. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning into The American Dream. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Hey, I want to remind you, not only do we want you watching the show every week with us, but don't forget you can follow us on social media as well. All of it should be on the screen for you. Please engage in the conversation there. And don't forget, my #1 job is to be your consumer advocate. If you have questions, concerns, you need an introduction to one of the professionals you saw on the show, shoot me an email. I would be happy to connect the dots for you. That's all for today. Cheers to your American dream, and we'll see you next time.